job and field of expertise?
I, I think that a myth is to be able to have this job that you have to have a PhD. You have to be somebody who's is an expert or a curator or something like that. And that's not what this job requires. This job requires thinking broadly and dealing with people, which may or may not be something that a PhD has. They could well have that skill, and that's great. And I wish I knew more, about certain areas of history than I do. But I know a lot about. I know a little about a lot of stuff, and but that's good when you run an organization. And then you can hire the people who are the experts in a particular area, right? Or you can contract with them to help you with a certain thing or exhibit or something like that.
So y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard him say that you don't need to have a whole bunch of degrees up under your belt to actually be involved. If you ever decide that you want your own history center to tell your side of the story or whatever that may be, you just heard it from the man himself that you don't need a lot you need a what was the what did you
Well,
say?
you need to be able to work with people,
There you go.
and
There you go.
and you need to be able to have ideas and not be constrained by what somebody has already done and do that again. But you also have to have the understanding the parameters in which you're working, and know how you want to approach something, and particularly something like history, which can be difficult. You have to be very careful, but you don't have to know how many cannonballs somebody had at a certain battle, right?
I agree. I have nothing to say to that. Well, on to the next question, because I totally agree with that. What is the most important lesson you learned over your career?
To pay attention to details.
Hmm.
You always have to pay attention to detail, and make sure other people are doing it, but not lose sight of the forest. While you're looking at it, the details are important, but you also have to be able to see the whole picture. Um, and so my father always said the last 5% is what counts, and that puts a lot of pressure on you. But people assume 95% that you're going to get it right, and 95% is great, and you bust your ass to do that. But it's that last 5%, the stuff that people don't expect, or if you can get towards that, that's when you really accomplish something. That's the difference between excellence and just being okay. Just being standard. And you want to shoot for something outstanding. You got to go chase that 5% and not be satisfied with this is damn good. Well, could it be better? And it always can be better.
Well, guys, you look. You normally I know how to say a lot, but he's saying so much good shit that I'm just kind of learning. I'm learning myself as I'm listening to
Well, you might be the first person.
you. Wow. Okay. So we got that, and you're right. So, guys, like you said, it's the last 5% that makes all the difference. Hmm. I'm gonna have to take that with me. Okay. So, okay, number five. What is a piece of advice you would give to someone starting out in your career field that say that they want to do what you're doing? Because that's what this show is all about. It's entrepreneurs and people that have nonprofit organizations, and I don't care if you do hair, makeup, nails, clothing lines, you can have a liquor line. I mean, if you trying to get your stuff off the ground and you say that you don't want to work for anybody because you want to work for yourself, be your own boss and all these other things, that's what this show is all about. That's why it's called You Don't Pay Me Enough to Care. But back to the question I said, what is a piece of advice you would give to someone starting out in your career?
So if they were starting out in a career to be in a museum world,
Hmm.
it would be trying to learn much about as many different parts of how the museum works. Not just one specific area, but start somewhere to be really good at whatever that is. You could start whether it's in the curation side or in fundraising or some other part of, because raising the money is a huge part of it's a business, right?
Hmm.
You got to
Yeah.
feed the monster, right?
Right. You're
And
right.
this monster consumes a lot of electricity, for example.
Yeah, I
And
try to
then,
cut them off when I'm here.
yeah, thank you. And we pay, and it it pays for a lot of people. And so you have to make sure that that pipeline of money is steady and growing, so you can do more. So that's really really critical. So, but you need to understand that piece of the business as well as the mission side, which is depending on what kind of museum it is, whether it's exhibits or collections or archives or anything else that the business is doing. Like I was the cancer side, the mission was cancer, right? And that's how do you approach dealing with a huge issue like that. And so the organization had to focus in on certain areas where they thought they could make a difference.
Hmm. Well, there you have it, guys. Um, Pay attention to all parts when you're being an entrepreneur, guys, because you have to learn every part of it to be successful at it. And you're gonna fail. So don't think everything that you do, you're gonna get it off the first go round, because it's gonna may take you 20 times before you get it right. So, like he said, that last 5% is always the best part of it all.
Well, that and that's all is hiring good people, right?
Right.
Or contracting with good people. Because if you don't know it, somebody else does,
Hmm.
and then you can learn from them.
And there you have it. Contractors. Yeah, yeah. Keep that in mind too as well. I appreciate that. But you're right. Okay, so let's get into, we're done with the questions, and I only have like two questions for the monuments of the untold stories of Stone Mountain. It's such a long word, and I have to make sure I say it right. Monuments, the untold story of Stone Mountain. Executive produced by Sheffield Hale and directed by Christian Weatherspoons. I always say Wither, and it's Weather. Um, the, okay, because history to me is always a very touchy subject. I don't care how you put it. I don't care how you say it. I don't care how you tell it. With this being such a very touchy subject, with knowing the background of Stone Mountain and yada yada yada, because people are just crazy anyway. Um, what was one of the craziest things that you heard when you guys were done with it and you started actually promoting it to get it out there?
Well, the craziest thing,
About back actually being in the South and telling us a Southern story, because people in the South still, there's still a lot of racism and isms and all them things.
well, a lot of craziness too. Um, well, the most bizarre thing happened in Athens recently when we were there, and there was an African American woman who got up and started making a speech about how she had black ancestors who had fought for the Confederacy,
Hmm.
one of whom was a brigadier general.
Hmm.
And we're just all sitting there going, okay, what do
And
we do with
while
this?
y'all were watching the movie?
No, it was after it was over. It was during the question and answer.
Sheesh.
And she went on and talked about melanin and got into all kinds of stuff. And and and
That
then
sounds about right for
and
some of
and
my
then she,
people.
and then
Them
she said that
crazy.
she said that Jefferson Davis was black.
Oh God.
Um, and anyway, so I would say that was the most bizarre thing that I've heard. Um, I've heard
Hmm.
some neo-Confederate white people say stuff like, "Oh, they're black Confederates,"
Hmm.
and I say, "Yeah, they're white unicorns too."
Well,
Um,
there you have it, people.
there are about as many
Always
unicorns as there are black
right.
Confederates.
I agree.
Um, so anyway, that's crazy, and we'll see what else. I'm sure there'll be more. It's only been out 3 weeks, so
Well, I thought it was a pretty good piece that y'all put together, and it was very diverse, and everybody telling their stories from different angles of it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I thought it was awesome.
people. I mean, the reaction has
Cause
been overwhelmingly positive.
well, that's good.
Now, except on Facebook. But those are,
Facebook ain't never good for
no,
anything,
but I
though.
don't watch it. But one person said something like, "I don't know. I haven't watched it, and I'm not going to watch it."
You better off
But
putting it on TikTok.
but here's then they go. But here's my review. It's a piece of blank blank blank. Well, it's all these people on Facebook just like see Stone Mountain
Yeah.
and assume something, and they just go off on it. They don't read. They don't watch the documentary. So
Oh God, Lord Jesus, people are just I don't understand, folks. Look, you guys, let me just put it like this when it comes to history. It was fucked up. You're in America, shit happened. Now, the only way you're going to get through it is to understand it. You have to accept things that happen. There's no way around it. It happened. It was there. It was what it was. But the whole thing of life is to elevate and to be more understanding and to what's the word? I can't even think of the word. But just elevate your understanding to everybody and everybody's aspect,
Have
whatever
empathy, I think
race,
is the word.
religion, creed, or hell, it could be an alien come to this world shit. And there's a few probably walking down here that I probably walk past, but you still have to understand those balances in life too. So, but I don't know. I just don't never get hung up on history like that because I'm just like it is what it is, and I think we just need to put more love and understanding in the world, and I think the world will be better for everybody.
Yeah, we got to admit what happened,
Hmm.
and then build on where we can, find commonality
Hmm.
and realize we have a common future.
That's
So
right.
we're not. We may have things happen differently to us all in the past.
Hmm.
Let's work on the future, and
Amen.
it's all you can do.
Right. Look to the future and stop dwelling on the past because the past is gonna be there, and you can't do too much of changing the past. You have to change the future. So yeah, that's my whole thing on history. Like I
Yeah,
said, I never really get into
but
history and politics
but
and it because people are just
but don't forget my job. My job is to make sure you understand the history and not ignore it and not dismiss it. Um, and then once you understand it, you have a basis for moving forward. We're trying to set the table for discussion. For example, with the carving, what do you do
hmm
about Stone Mountain? Well, if you don't understand the past, you can't understand why people feel about it, and you can't forge a solution out of it unless you
hmm
really understand what happened.
yeah. Well, there you have it, people. I don't have any other questions with that because, like I said, documentary was awesome. I enjoyed it, and I'm sure a thousand, millions, and trillions of other people are going to enjoy it. I want to close out with this. Give one piece of advice to someone out there that it could be. Let me see how I'm gonna put this. Going forward in everything that you're doing, give one piece of advice to someone that'll be watching this that can carry with them through college, through life. It could be a life learned lesson that they may need to hear. Something positive that can reflect on anybody that wants to, like I said, be in the field of having their own museum and being an entrepreneur. It could just be on the lines of being an entrepreneur. Let's just do that. Let's just do that.
I'd say the one thing is check who you're getting your information from
Mhm.
and check your sources
Mhm.
and understand how to sort the wheat from the chaff, as they say, the good from the bad,
Mhm.
and work towards and don't take things at face value, but look for somebody who shows their work, because if somebody's talking too smooth and it seems too good to be true, it is. And if you keep pushing them to show their work and they won't tell you how they did it or
Mm.
what's going on,
Mhm.
you've busted them
Mm.
and move on. So you got to press people to give you real information, um, because they'll try to BS you every time. There are a lot of people out there like that.
No bull, no smooth talking ass people. People, that's what he means.
Yeah.
So watch all the snakes in the
Yeah,
grass.
and just show me why you believe that, or show you how you did that.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
how does this work?
yeah.
And just get behind stuff and don't take anything at face value.
And there you have it, guys. And we're gonna get Sheffield out of here because this is a busy man, and I don't know what else And we are out of here on You Don't Pay Me Enough to Care. And with my special guest, Sheffield Hale. And like I said, guys, enlightenment, speed, blessings. And I want everybody to have a good night and enjoy themselves and be safe out there. And Happy New Year to everybody. Peace out.